Everything pretty much feels like a psyop these days.
Conspiracy theories are entering a dangerous...
Information is the oxygen of the democracy.
There's so much evidence out there that even if less than 1% is true, that would be enough to collapse the current paradigm and change the whole planet.
So, into November. If you don't remember, in November, X made the locations where accounts were formed public. And this really did happen. Double checked it myself. They took away the data eventually, but Department of Homeland Security definitely joined from Israel. The official Department of Homeland Security account definitely joined from Israel. I'm sure it was just a bug. I'm sure it was just a fluke, just an accident. We also had Jeffrey Epstein files starting to come out, and we had all kinds of citizen journalists building all sorts of cool tools for people to access them, people digging through them. We had people keeping their eyes right on the target. People like Smotrich saying it may be moral to starve 2 million Gazans, but no one in the world would let us. What a shame, you piece of shit. This is a bit behind the times. I posted this in November. Oh, I guess it was in November. We just watched the video from it, which is why I was off. The old false allegations of honeypotting. Oh, Cash. Oh, Cash. No, I think it's pretty funny when it's me, Alexis. I think it's pretty funny. I think it's hilarious, actually.
Back to that.
So I didn't include this one because of the clip itself. I included this one because of the comments. And the comments underneath every Turning Point USA post these days. Charlie Kirk said that Epstein worked with Mossad. Charlie Kirk said that the October 7th narrative didn't add up. Charlie Kirk said that he was afraid Israel would take him out. The fact that Turning Point is trying to memory hole all of that says everything. Share your phone log from 910, Mikey. Also, your dad is a prick. The supercalifragilisticexpialidocious Mikey military mafia McCoy. Why don't you guy losers care who killed Charlie? Hey, you guys, you know what would be great? If you demonstrated even 10% of the concern or interest that people outside of TPUSA showed in figuring out what happened on 9/10. Right now, your lack of care shouts volumes. It just does. And it just goes on and on and on. All of the comments. And TPUSA is just crumbling. Meanwhile, incredible reporting coming out of DropSite. Remember at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of our year in review, this was all just conspiracy theories. And then the Ehud emails, the Epstein files have just verified it over and over and over. But then we get shit like this from Speaker Johnson.
All right. Number 5, national security concerns, okay? The discharge requires the Attorney General to release within 30 days, quote, classified information to the maximum extent possible. This ignores the principle that declassification should always rest, and always has rested, with the agency that originated the intelligence. Why?
He looks really uncomfortable. He looks like someone has videos of him getting boned in the booty. Allegedly. I mean, I'm just saying that's how it feels. That's just how it might seem to the public. Allegedly.
So that they can protect their critical sources and methods. It is incredibly dangerous to demand that officials or employees of the DOJ declassify materials that originated in other agencies, in intelligence agencies.
So now declassifying the Epstein files would be a bad thing because it would expose the sources and methods of our intelligence agencies. You know what's exposing the sources and methods of intelligence agencies? is how all of the Israeli Wires shows are getting like 200 live views, 300 live views, 700 live views. That's awkward. We're on hour 8.5, and we're still at what, like 6,000, 6,500 homies hanging out, and I'm just some dude. I don't even have a multi-million-dollar production studio behind me with multi-million-dollar ad budget. We already peeped this one. In November, Miriam Adelson committed to lead a $20 million campaign to unseat Thomas Massie. She's an American, though. She's an American Jew with her entire casino empire centered in China now, and her entire allegiance centered in Israel always. But don't worry, she comes back home to take her shits. And occasionally she even flushes. Brett Cooper finally dropped in hard with this absolute banger.
So blinded by your ridiculous, insane hatred of Tucker Carlson that you cannot see how irresponsible and hypocritical you are being. I mean, these tweets from Ted Cruz, I'm going to read you next, are a great example of this. So just a month ago, he tweeted this. He said, "They don't kill you because you're a Nazi. They call you a Nazi so they can kill you. Political violence is a left-wing phenomenon. Enough is enough. We need to shut it down." And then in response to Fuentes and Tucker this week, he tweeted this. "Trump's bombing of the Ayatollah's nuclear facilities made the little Nazi mad. Good. So now you're turning around and you're calling somebody that you don't like a Nazi. You're doing this out of blind rage because you're so angry that the conservative base's attitudes are rapidly changing that Nick Fuentes
I don't think it's rage. I think he's just trying to be a good little goy.
Is getting national attention, and so you have turned around and in response, you are compromising your own values and anger, which is such a dangerous precedent to set.
It's been cool to watch Brett break out and do her own thing. That's for sure. Fuck the Daily Wire.
And unfortunately for you guys, yes, the attitudes are changing. So again, it
And
makes
she's doing
sense
amazingly.
why this group is incredibly frantic. You are so blinded by
Oh, I thought that was where she said that he should move to Israel. I grabbed the wrong clip.
Wonder if one day
But I figured we would just end the month of November with this absolute banger. It's old, but it's always classic.
you will have to flee the United States.
I mean, I think that every Jew throughout world history who has a brain and knows history has always wondered if a country that is not a Jewish state is going to eternally provide them security guarantees and full citizenship, of course. I mean, that's I think to think that that's why the existence of the state of Israel is the single greatest guarantor of my loyalty to the United States, frankly, right? Because Israel exists, that means the United States is going to be a more welcoming place for me because it's state. The existence of security guarantees and full citizenship, of course. I mean, that's I think to think that that's why the existence of the state of Israel is the single greatest guarantor of my loyalty to the United States, frankly.
Dual loyalty. But actually, is it even dual? Is it even dual? Ben is what we would call an asset. Maybe an agent, but I would say asset because he is a beneficial asset to Israel. And I think he knows that. Right? I mean, call me crazy. Call me anti-Semitic. Call me names. But I dare you to call me wrong. I dare you to call me wrong. And as we get to the end here, I think we're just going to scroll the posts from December rather than pulling them all up in advance. And just notice the Israel faceless shills. Classic Israel bot right here with the American flag in the bio. 4.5 thousand likes, almost 1 million views. Clint Russell, fucking patriot. His response, 52,000 likes. with the same number of views. Read the fucking room, guys. We can ratio Ben Shapiro with just the word lol these days. This is how far the conversation has devolved. This is how far down they've fallen. This is how wide open it all is now. This is on Ben Shapiro's TPUSA speech. Lol. Nice. Nice one, bro. Bro made an Epstein Files viewer that was dope. Tiffany crushing the game as always. Owen Benjamin pointing out that 0% of ballistic tests have shown the FBI 30-06 narrative. 0%. And that reminds me, why don't I pull up Trigger Smart and we watch his new video real quick? Because he tested frangible rounds. And it's very instructive. Incredible video by Trigger Smart, who's been pushing this game real good for quite some time now.
Trigger Smart. I am out here at the range. I hope you guys appreciate this because it is freezing out here. And I'm going to be doing some testing. I'm going to be shooting. But here's the interesting part. I'm testing frangible ammo. So I had my source at Enter 10, Jacques. I had him go out and check and see if he could find some frangible ammo. And we're going to see if we can get that frangible ammo to break on it.
So he's going to have some thick-ass bone in. He's going to have some fruit. He's going to have some water. And have a couple of different things to shoot.
All right, guys, here we go. So I'm going to be shooting all these different items. Some are going to be with full metal jacket first of each item. And then we're going to do frangible rounds of Fiochis each item. And then after we're done, then obviously we're going to compare the damage and that kind of stuff. The thing that's interesting is that based on the research that I've done, these frangible rounds will probably pass through just about everything.
And I think he's shooting 5.56.
Except maybe the cinder block and the steel. I'm actually really curious if it's going to stop in that bone on that beef, but we'll find out. And I'm shooting my 10.5 Stag Arms. Has the Velo suppressor. And then, of course, we have our full metal jacket and our frangible rounds here. And we're going to start off with steel with non-frangible full metal jacket.
And just films it all.
And wood, full metal jacket. All right, now we're switching over to frangible. We're going to shoot the steel first.
And where it gets really interesting.
And then we're going to shoot frangible at the wood. So we're going to start off with full metal jacket on the left. So everything that I shoot right now is going to be full metal jacket on the left side. Let's see how it goes. Cantaloupe. Pretty uneventful. All right, now let's go ahead and do our pineapple. Okay, a little bit more eventful. Not kind of stuff, but we'll say that it's not as effective. Oh, not, you know, for over penetration and that kind of stuff, but some people say that it's not as effective. All right, now we're going to go to frangible on the right side. First, we're going to do our cantaloupe.
Obviously blows right through it.
Pineapple.
But what's interesting here is as you watch this damage, you'll start to realize if you transpose this to a neck, especially when you see it shoot through the meat and the bone, and you transpose the frangible ammo to the idea of this hitting Charlie in the neck, this is a smaller round than a 30-06, significantly less powerful. And you start to realize that this would have very much exploded his neck as well. Watch what it does to the pineapple. It actually does more damage to the fruits.
And next we're going to go to our water bottle.
Full metal jacket goes straight through.
All right, let's clear and check it out.
But the frangible explodes into many fragments.
I'm shooting at about 50 yards. So my first impressions is that the full metal jacket did not cause as much damage as the frangible, but let's check this out. All right, so let's look at our entrance. This is with the full metal jacket. So pretty clean going in. That's our exit, right? That's that cavitation and that exit wound people talk about. All right, next we have our pineapple. And it's kind of hard to see there, but there's your entrance right there, right here. And again, this is full metal jacket. There's your exit, right? Pretty obvious. A lot of damage. And then the back, of course, is blown out. Made a big mess.
Then peep the frangible.
All right, now we're going to look at the frangible side. So what's interesting On the frangible, this is the entry wound.
Way
so definitely
bigger.
Split it open. But now look at the exit. Almost identical. So that exit is almost identical. Then you have your pineapple. And now on this one, you can see that
Way
entry wound
bigger.
is bigger on the frangible. So it was already breaking up when it hit. Now, I can't see any obvious residue or anything. I can't see any powder. Now look at the exit.
Way bigger.
Right?
It
Pretty
just
blown out.
Shredded it.
But again, I don't...
Because a frangible round, if you're not familiar, a frangible round is designed to kind of like disintegrate on impact with a very hard surface so that it won't over penetrate through walls and shoot other people. Law enforcement tends to use them. And so the story with Charlie Kirk changed to no, it was a frangible round. That's why they didn't find a bullet. That's why there was no exit wound.
I don't see any powder.
So after
like
shooting all these things,
if we can get, but now we need to test out. In this case, it is 5.56 because if they're saying there was a 30-06 frangible round, we need to see if any frangible round would work. In this case, it is 5.56, not exactly 1-to-1 with 30-06, but it's the same idea.
So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot a pork roast, and some of you are going to say, why is the plastic still on it? Well, to me, that's almost kind of functioning like the skin, right? And plastic obviously tears and rips pretty easily when it's shot. So I'm going to kind of simulate how the skin kind of holds things together, right? It is elastic, it has some give, but I left that on for that reason. And then after that, we're going to shoot our roast that has a bone. And first we're going to shoot Full Metal Jacket at the left pork roast.
right through the roast, right
now
through
we're
the
going to
first
shoot
layer of concrete.
frangible pork roast.
Right through the roast, into the concrete, didn't penetrate.
Remember, some of you were saying, look at this. All right, now, this goes to show you what people are talking about when you can barely find or never see an entry wound. Look at that. You have the little plastic right there. That tiny little hole right there, right above my thumb. That's the entry. You can barely see it, all right? That's your
Blows
exit.
out the back.
And behind it. All right, front. Now let's see if it went through the back. Shattered the whole thing. It did not go all the way through, so it didn't go through the back.
That was Full Metal
But it
Jacket.
did crack. See? Similarly, very, very small entry wound. Now remember, these are like 22
Small
size
entry
bullets,
wound.
because 5.56, 223. But very small on the inside. Let's see how the back looks.
Blown
All right, now on the back
hell
of this, you can see it's still blown out. But you can see it's still blew out.
You can see little
So
fragments
you would
of the
definitely
bullet
see
right
an
there.
exit wound. And then on this one, it did not go through the cinder block. It didn't even crack the cinder block, but it did take this chunk out here, right? But the frangible bullet, some pieces of it there.
And again, this is
The frangible,
a
when it hit
smaller
something
round
hard,
than
it did break
30-06.
up.
Frangible ammo that we saw break up on the concrete block. Is that going to hit the bone after going?
I was actually not sure. As he was getting ready for this, I was like, what's going to happen?
For the flesh
going to happen
is about
here?
the same thickness as a human neck. And is it going to kind of break and explode on impact?
Look
So,
at the thickness.
This is his roast,
That's about
and he's going to shoot through the bottom of it here, and there's a bone along the back side of it right there. A nice thick bone, much thicker and much stronger than a vertebrae.
the same as those pork roasts, about the same as a human neck. So I'm going to shoot right through the lower part of it, and it's going to hit that bone in the back. And what we're trying to see is it going to go through the flesh and stop at the bone with the frangible round, or is it going to go through and hit the cinder block?
And if you guys appreciate me doing this in the freezing cold, not like Jesse in heavy duty country wearing
Throwing
tank
some
tops out
shade.
in Texas, hit that like button.
Blew it apart. And actually probably did more damage than it would have had done had it been Full Metal Jacket.
Looked like a pretty good shot. All right, make sure we're clear.
All right, so here's what we have. Pretty sizable entry hole. Some pretty good damage. Nice wound cavity. Come on the other side. And that was a pretty direct hit, right? That went straight through that bone.
Tore the bone
Blew out
apart.
the side and went straight through the bone. And it wasn't an edge shot, right? So the hole's actually closer to the middle.
Smaller round than a 30-06.
And you can see that bone that's thicker than human vertebrae went right through it. Blew it out. And it also made another big chunk out of that
Took a huge chunk out of the concrete behind it after going through the bone.
cinder block. All right, so what's the takeaway here? Well, we shot just about everything you could think of, hard and soft. Obviously, we have to look at the slow-mo, but, I mean, frangible ammo, 5.56, 223, has less power, less foot-pounds of force hitting. It can be a fast round, and it is smaller, but in this case, it went straight through the bone, everything else. So I would say, even with a frangible 30-06, it has significantly more power at the 140 yards.
I heard that Jesse on Fire and Heavy Duty Country Dan took some frangible 30-06 rounds to the range. So I'm hoping that we're going to get some footage of some frangible 30-06 coming here soon. I don't think it's out yet. I don't believe. So So far, every single thing that's been shot at anything it's blown right through. Everything. People have been shooting through bones. They've been shooting through steel. They've been shooting through concrete. They've been shooting through wood. They've been shooting through meat, bone, wood, and concrete all at once in one shot. So that's the state of the game at the end of 2025. That's the state of the big question at the end of 2025. Jeffrey Epstein worked for Israel, and Charlie Kirk was not shot with a bullet from Tyler Robinson's rifle. And it's looking more and more every day like he might not have been shot with a bullet at all. I think that everyone that's really looking at this is starting to wonder about that microphone. And starting to wonder what was in that microphone and what exactly was at that explosives plant at Tennessee that blew up 1 month later and killed everyone inside. Right? Am I right? So we've made it to now. We have made it to today, homies. We're all caught up. We definitely sped through at the end here. I mean, I guess we skipped over Bondi Beach and the shooting at where was it? Brown University. I had a document open. Where'd my document go? Did I close it? Did I accidentally close it? I had a source document here somewhere, but I don't see it. No, it's not there. I must have closed the source document. Oh, it's up there. But yeah, we'll let Bondi Beach be. Personally, I have some questions. Personally, to me, it looks an awful lot like false flag. It looks awfully set up to be an anti-Semitism. And it looks like it was pounced on right away. Yeah, the National Guard false flag too. Where the Afghani special forces guy drove all the way across the country just to pop 2 random National Guards people and then commit suicide by police, so to speak. All very weird. All very weird. Everything pretty much feels like a psyop these days.
That would be enough to collapse the current paradigm and change the whole planet.